The All-Star break is done. It's Sunday night again. We're here talking fantasy baseball. All coming up next on the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I think that video played there. I'm not sure, Jeff, but how it's...
It played.
Okay, it played. I couldn't see it for some reason. But welcome to the RotoWire Fantasy Baseball Podcast. I am Scott Jenstad, joined as always on Sunday nights by Jeff Erickson. Jeff, how's everything? I missed you last week.
Yeah, everything is good. You know, it's nice to take a little bit of a break during the All-Star break, although it was not our usual. We didn't go to Vegas. We did the XM show, and we did an extra hour every day on VEASAN. Hopefully you guys caught some of that. Nick and I talked a lot last week still. More football than baseball, so I'm just happy to be back in the saddle again, talking more baseball. I know a lot. Give the people what they want, so I'm excited. I actually did a impromptu Sunday night draft review with Johnny Venezia. That was a lot of fun, but happy to be back in the saddle with you, Scott.
Me as well. It's always a lot of fun. It was a nice little break. I think I'd done every Sunday since like February. So it was nice to just hang out last Sunday, but All-Star game was fun. We got the second half starting. We got a lot of fun races. Aside the AL Central, kind of everything else is pretty fun. The Dodgers are a mess right now. The Brewers are on fire. So there's a lot going on. How do you feel about the Brewers? You're the Reds fan. Brewers have tied the Cubs. The NL Central is officially tied. We got a race there.
Yeah, winning 10 in a row tends to help. I mean, the Cubs had the best record in baseball before today. Now they're tied with the Brewers. Go figure. I mean, and now the Tigers have actually passed that back. Passed them up by half game. But the Tigers had lost, 6 in a row or something like that going into the Sunday night game. So the Brewers this is every year it seems like, this is the year that finally all their Moneyball ways are going to catch up to them. Look I can't believe how cheap they are. I can't believe that, they actually think they're going to contend with it. Oh, here they are, 19 games over 500, just swept the Dodgers twice now, by the way.
Yeah, 6 in a row. You're right.
And we'll have to have a Dodger conversation on top of that. But, their defense is phenomenal. We saw that in the Saturday game in particular. I thought that was noteworthy how good they played defensively. They get guys like, Quinn Priester to pitch well. You look at Priester's numbers with the Pirates, look at them with the Red Sox. Like, how are they doing this? It seems like they do this all the time. Of course. And the best part about the Brewers is their farm system is loaded. I mean, I've been complaining about Logan Henderson not getting another shot, but it's not just him. They've got a number of top 100 prospects in James Anderson's prospect rankings. If you look at like their draft, I know James really liked their first round pick at pick 20. So they did well there. They're just a draft and development machine. And they find these hidden talents like Priester, getting all this great defense out of Joey Ortiz. And we knew that when the Burns trade happened, that Ortiz was going to be pretty good defensively. Yeah. I think we might have didn't quantify properly how good he is defensively. And I think that's always tough. And he's actually and when you play more, because you're great defensively, sometimes the bat develops better than people think it's going to.
They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 guys in their roster who have thrown more than 38 innings this year. Not one of them has an ERA over 3.6.
That's crazy.
Is that wild? I was looking, I'm like, everybody look at, you look at from the starters. I mean, Freddie Peralta's quietly has an ERA under 3. Like, hasn't really been talked about that much. You mentioned Priester, Chad Patrick's 3.5, Jose Quintana somehow 3.5. And then you got Abner Uribe out of the pen at 2.23. Got a save today, although he made it very sketchy against the Dodgers, but did get a save. For those of us who picked him up for the half week after the All-Star break, it was nice to get a save out of that, even though he gave up a run today. But you look at everybody. Trevor McGill's been great. 2.27 ERA, 23 saves for them. I mean, their pitching's giving up fewer runs than everybody in the NL but the Padres. This pitching staff has just been, with one big name, if you want to call Peralta a big name, a bunch of guys who we didn't think about. All of them ERAs under 3.6. It's pretty crazy.
It is. It really is. And They pitch in a park that's not generally considered a pitcher's park either. So it's not like they're benefiting from a park or anything like that. They're just good.
Yeah. And, obviously they got Mizorowski now. So you've got another guy that's not even someone we listed already. I mean, they're stacked. They just don't give up runs. And, you look at their offense, they don't have anybody with an OPS over 800, but a bunch of really solid guys. You got Churios at 750, Yelich is at 788. William Contreras, who was the late second round pick in fantasy leagues and 15 teamers, OPS is under 700. What does he have? He has 6 home runs on the year. Like he's been really bad, and they're still been really good.
Yeah, exactly. I'm checking their schedule to see if they play the Phillies still or if they're done with that. I think they play they've got a home series against the Phillies start September. I remember they're the team that broke Jesus Luzardo in Philly earlier this year. But given the furor about Mizrachi making the All-Star team, I think it's interesting that they get that series coming up. Yeah,
the Phillies are very outspoken about that. They should probably just have like a fun rookie slot on the All-Star team, and that way nobody would care about it and worry about put one guy on each league. I don't really care about that much of the All-Star game, but they just pump this up so much like this is lifelong achievement, and they put a guy with 5 games in there. It's like you just can't have it both ways. Just save a spot for young fun rookie. Call it young fun rookie.
Player on the rise. You know?
Like whatever cheesy stuff you want to call it. It would just work.
Yeah, that's right. And the thing is, like Jackson Chourio has been okay, but not what we expected as a first-round player, certainly. Christian Yelich had a horrible start to the season. He's been much better since then. Obviously, that's a big part of it. But they don't, right? Rhys Hoskins is on the IL. I almost called him Rice because I used to call him Rice. I don't know why, but nonetheless, you look at this lineup and you're like, But then Andrew Vaughn comes up and he's like an RBI machine all of a sudden. It's almost like the White Sox didn't manage him well.
You see his drop at first base today in the ninth inning?
I did not. Was it that
bases loaded, 2-run game, like it's kind of a soft ground ball. Ortiz, I think it was Ortiz, kind of slung it over under or sidearm to Vaughn to end the game, and he reached out and just literally dropped the ball at first base.
Oh gosh!
And I think it was Pajes was on second. Like should have just been running the whole way and should have scored. They should have scored 2 runs on the play because there's no reason for him not to be running. If it's an out, the game's over.
Right.
I think maybe he's worried that Ortiz is going to kind of eat it rather than throw it to first, and then he gets caught in between. But Dodgers announcers kind of giving us some heat for that. If he just runs the whole way, they tie the game. And then Mookie came up and just hit a laser off Uribe to center field, but right at the center fielder to end the game. But it was Vaughn literally just stretched and just dropped the ball. You don't see it happen very often in a major league game.
No, you don't. That's for sure. But 2 more hits today. Didn't knock anybody in. That was the big upset part of it there. I mean, they're getting mileage out of like Isaac Collins. I mean, they're some of the guys that are doing damage for them are just. This is so Brewers. You lose. You lose a number of you lose. For instance, you lose Sal Frelick, no problem. You lose Garrett Mitchell, no problem. We'll call up Blake Perkins. He hasn't done anything in ages. Well, we'll just use him for now. It seems like it works.
Yeah, that division's wild because it was like Cubs for so long, and the Cardinals got really hot, and all of a sudden the Brewers tied them up. You mentioned Brewers are half game behind Detroit for the best record in all of baseball. It's out of nowhere. You're right. Winning 10 in a row does a lot. The AL West is getting interesting too. The Mariners did lose today, but they've been really warm too. They're 4 behind Houston, so we've got a race there. But the AL East is really the place. You got 4 teams within 7 games, and all I think pretty good teams. Blue Jays, Yankees, and Rays. And Red Sox are playing really well. Won 8 out of the last 10. Our friend Jason DuPont went viral for the Ceddanne Rafaela walk-off last week. It was fun to see an NFFC player get his time in the sun. I don't know if you saw that at all or not, but he was got interviewed a bunch, and he called the shot the walk-off for Rafaela. But the AL East is balling right now. It's going to be a fun division down the stretch.
Yeah, it is, and I hadn't seen that actually.
It's pretty funny. It's like a clip of him like right before the pitch before like pointing to over the field.
I didn't know that was him. I saw that. That's crazy.
And then the next day he had like his he always wears the like Jason Varitek pushing A-Rod during that fight shirt. So he had that shirt and he gave it to the person that came down and talked to him from the broadcast and everything. So he got his 15 minutes for sure.
Good for him.
Yeah, it was funny. But let's talk a little fantasy. First some players. Guy who's been crazy hot. How good is Kyle Stowers right now? 382, 11 home runs, 25 RBIs in the last 24 games. Made the All-Star team, was in the All-Star swing off at the end. But I think he set a record for 5 home runs in back-to-back games. There was some stat in there. There was the only guy who had 5 home runs with a walk-off in 2 games. So on fire right now. He's been one of the best finds in fantasy so far this year.
He sure has, and he was available weeks into the season in many cases too. It's one of those like you got to hit it on a couple of those free agent pickups when they're out there, and that's definitely one that can't believe, if you didn't get him, you're like, you're losing to the field on that. He and his teammate Otto Lopez both.
Yeah. Otto's been very sneaky, really, really good. He has 52 RBI, and he's leading majors in RBI in the last 30 days. Like, he's been number one. I know he had that one crazy week where he had 13 RBI, whatever it was, but 52 RBIs, he's 11 home runs, 10 steals. He's been a great gem too. And we always joke about, this guy's free, but like Kyle Stowers was legit free in drafts. Like, you could have taken him whenever you wanted to.
Yep.
I'd like to make a Trevor Rogers joke, except Trevor Rogers has been really good for Baltimore lately.
I know, right? Both sides of this deal, like, whatever. Maybe Norby's going to be great. No, Norby's out long term right now is the funny thing. Like the guy that we thought the best of the three is the guy that's done the least. Although it's not like he was terrible, but I mean, both Stowers and Rogers have been really good lately. It's just a shame that for the Orioles' sake that they didn't get Rogers going earlier. They might have still been way out of it in the AL East, even if they had done so.
Yeah, it's a tough division to start slowing. But yeah, Trevor Rogers, for all we made fun of him, made fun of that deal. He has been very, very good. But Stowers and Lopez have been really fun. The Marlins offense is kind of sneaky. Like, it's not an automatic turnoff when they're on TV. There's some guys you want to see hitting that lineup now.
Yeah, there are. I gotta admit though, still Miami, Kansas City was not my focus this weekend.
No
offense
very much not.
To either side. I mean, the Marlins are playing good, decent ball. They're almost done strip mining the team too. Yeah. I mean, they've almost torn it down to the studs. If they could only get Alcantara to be even like 3 runs in 6 innings, okay version for a couple of starts, that might be allow them to get a trade.
Like 4 or 5 runs every single game.
Oh my gosh. And no more than 4 or 5 strikeouts either.
It is a weird. I mean, you look at he had that 6 inning shutout game against Pittsburgh. You're like, maybe it's coming. Then he pitched okay against Philly, okay against Atlanta. And then the last 4 games, 7-5, 6-4. It just, even if he has a couple good innings, you just kind of wait for that 3 or 4 inning to come. They just can't get him rolling at all. I figured maybe he would be rusty for a month or get hurt or something, but this deep in the season, I did not think we'd be at the point where he's just not pitching well at all.
No. And he's not pitching well, and they're just as a team not pitching very well. 478 runs allowed so far. And at one point, they're like, oh, this is a fun young pitching staff. They're probably not going to hit anything, but and it's funny. It's been the opposite. The pitching has been a disappointment. Edward Cabrera has been good for about a good solid couple months. Did have a little injury, but it looks like he's going to make his next start. He's like, he could be one of the best available starting pitchers at the trade deadline.
Yeah.
And Edward Cabrera, that is. Alcantara, I don't think is going to fetch a whole lot. I think he will get dealt, but it's going to be, you're going to be underwhelmed with the packages they get for Alcantara. Cabrera will fetch more is my prediction.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Alcantara's just been so bad. You talk about the Marlins get up runs. The A's have get up 100 more runs than the Marlins even after that.
Holy heck.
Yeah, so my father-in-law was over talking. We were talking about the A's a little bit, and he was like, well, "There's some fun guys on offense," and then just nobody that could pitch. It's been so bad.
Yep. Only the pace eaters are worse.
I saw people talking about trading Severino. It's a tough contract to trade right now, right?
Any contract can be dealt. I mean,
yeah.
I always hear about these untradeable contracts.
Yeah,
but you just work out something around that. There, you take a lot of the money, or the quality of the prospect that you get varies on how much money you're going to keep paying on that contract. Yeah. It happens all the time.
It does. I don't know if the A's are eating money, but maybe they just give them away for nothing. I don't know. It's for that.
The league subsidizes it somehow, because to reward them for moving the team to Vegas, because that's what the league wanted them to do.
He hates pitching in Sacramento, though.
Oh yeah, he made that pretty clear.
Yeah,
with his performance and his words.
Yeah, no doubt there. We talked a little bit before about the Ceddanne Rafaela walk-off the other day. Rafaela's been really, really good. In true Jason DuPont fashion, he mentioned this. Rafaela's playing at an MVP pace, which was a bit overstated, of course, when you got Aaron Judge and Cal Raleigh in the American League. But Rafaela has been really good, and it's an interesting profile right now because I think we're always concerned about the strikeouts. He got called up, struck out a ton. He played all of last year, struck out a ton. 14 home runs, 13 stolen bases so far this year, hitting 271. Strikeouts are down almost 8%. Really good number. He's down to a 19% strikeout rate. Didn't strike out at all today, so 18.7%. The talent is always there. We saw it last year. His hard hit rate's up more than 10%. His barrel rate's up 5%. He's turned to a really good hitter. I don't know how sustainable it is, but he's turned to a really good hitter this year.
Batting third all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like today, he batted third. They got a great game out of Wilyer Abreu too today to kind of stop the Cubs.
I love Wilyer Abreu.
I do too. Yeah. I do too. I wish I didn't get freaked out by his training camp. I mean, spring training illness that caused him to lose weight. All that good stuff, because I would have had more exposure to him had that not been the case. But Rafaela, I mean, one thing I'm not sure about. What do you think about them playing him at second base more often? He's so good in center field. He
is really good in center field.
I don't like moving him around. But then again, I understand the logjam that they have in the outfield too. Anthony's got to play. Abreu's got to play. Jarren Duran's got to play. There's 4 guys right there. If you want to use Yoshida ever, someone's got to move. Someone's either got to sit or move. So they choose move.
It's a good problem to have, but yeah, you're right. He's so fun to watch in center field. You hate to ever take him out of there, but it's just I'm just really surprised that he's cut the strikeout rate while the hard hit rate's gone up at the same time. Usually you see like those move in different directions. Like a guy kind of sells out for power but strikes out more. He's in for more power and striking out a ton less. You don't see that very often. He's really taking a step up this year, like a significant one.
Yeah, he has. He absolutely has. After like a pretty miserable start to the season too.
Yeah, so there's a lot of guys that can't hit in April. It's cold and tough. It's an annual reminder that we probably shouldn't freak out because someone's hitting $182 and after April. Rafael Devers is nodding at us, but although he's been bad in San Francisco too, so that hasn't worked out great so far. But I want to talk about a pitcher real quick. Someone who it feels like we've been waiting for a long time is Matthew Boyd. Like, shown some signs of being really good, some signs of being really bad. There was a lot of people in the fantasy space that really loved him for a while. Matthew Boyd's been awesome this year. 2.34 ERA, 1.03 WHIP. Strikeout rate is 23%, down a little bit, but he's cut the walks, which is down to 5%. So you got what's that 18% K minus walk. Been really, really good. The swinging strike rate is down. So maybe the strikeouts are not coming back, but man, this guy's been really good. A godsend for the Cubs.
Absolutely. And I think health is always the concern with Boyd. It's not just, and he's one of those guys, if he's not 100% healthy, he probably drops off performance, but it's staying healthy throughout the season and staying healthy deep enough into games. And he's been able to do that on both aspects there. Not quite averaging 6 innings a start or anything, but 111 innings and 19 starts, but you'll take that, especially at the ratios he's providing, especially with no Justin Steele.
Yeah, that's right.
So what do you do with him next year? That's a good question. I think he's shown flashes before of being really good. I mean, but at the same time, I think we all got excited a little bit when, we thought that Seattle fixed him. But then he was awful in Detroit in 2023. Decent, but very limited amount of time in Cleveland. I don't know. It's really tough with him. Chances are he's going to get discounted. I think it's going to be tough for people to buy in unless he pitches well, like through the playoffs and all that. I don't know. Maybe it'll change, but are you taking him in the top 10 rounds in the NFBC main event?
I'm not, just because he's going to be 35 and I think the health is going to be too much for me to worry about, but he's certainly earned it, but I don't think I can do it. It's been, how long since he threw 100 innings? 2019 is the last time he went over 100 innings before this year. I think the injury stuff, but people are really smart that we draft with these days. Like, this is someone that, 8 years ago would have gone like the 7th round next year. And just because based on numbers and all that, people have gotten really smart with drafting. So I agree with you. I don't think he'll be that pushed up, but I probably still won't be doing it.
Yep.
Some of the chat's asking about Mookie Betts. A good time to talk about that. He has been really, really struggling lately. They even sat him down on Saturday. Just kind of it felt like a mental refresh for Betts, but hit 241, Jeff. That number shocked me. I knew he was struggling, but then I looked at that. I thought he'd been better early on and then maybe struggled lately, but hitting 241, 11 home runs, only 6 steals. His hard contact rate's now at 35%. I could look it up, but that's going to be it's going to be a bottom, 20th percentile number, something like that. And down from last year. Last year was 39%. The year before was 48% when he had the 39 homers. He's clearly not hitting the balls hard. He's playing. He's only, I always think he was older, but he's only 32, but playing shortstop now. Clearly has committed a lot to that. He's playing really good shortstop too, but the offense is not there right now. How do you feel about him as we get into these last 10 weeks of the season?
It's tough. I mean, he's making great contact. Only 44 strikeouts in the season. He's just not hitting the ball with as much authority as you mentioned already. He's running less frequently too. I gotta wonder a little bit though, Scott, if maybe all that focus on his defense and going the reverse side of the spectrum has hurt his hitting. I think it's possible. I don't know what you do about that though. I mean, the Dodgers don't have Maybe they do in Hyeseong Kim. Maybe Kim should be playing shortstop and put Mookie in the outfield again, but I'm just looking at the defensive alignment now. I mean, Pajes and Teoscar are fine. Yeah. I guess it's left field. Hey, we got an answer here. Conforto and Ruiz. I mean, I guess that's where you could improve. I've heard some rumors about the Dodgers trying to go after some sort of combo of Clase and Kwan. Kwan being hurt now kind of stifles that a little bit. So I don't know. But I think, you look and you see like not a full-time closer, not a full-time left fielder. Maybe that's where they could improve. Yeah. And that would maybe take some of the burden off of Mookie too.
Burden's a good word for it. He does feel a little burdened. I mean, he's playing it's amazing. He's playing good shortstop at 32 and moving positions the last couple of years. But are you remotely concerned about the Dodgers? Are the injuries catching up here? They've lost 8 of their last 10. They are definitely, scrambling to try and find someone to pitch every day. I mean, they're moving around a lot. They have a lot of guys, but there aren't a lot of guys that they can just count on every 5 days to go out there and take the ball. I mean, Glasnow's back now, but who knows for how long? And they just don't. There's just so much movement there. Are you worried at all? They're still up 3.5 games on the Padres, or you think this is just a blip in the season?
I think it's probably a blip. I think the thing is they build up more depth than ever, and they still have been like the injuries have been outpacing the depth, which is just crazy. Emmett Sheehan got knocked around the other day by the Brewers. I mean, that was tough because we're kind of just a reminder that, hey, just because these guys look good in an outing or two doesn't mean that they're not going to go through the typical ups and downs that happen with young, inexperienced players. Sheehan's not a rookie, but he's also not experienced. So yeah, I kind of get it a little bit there. Dustin Mays had some hiccups this year. Kind of started to come around a little bit. He was, you and I spent some time on a previous podcast talking about his struggles. But I mean, they got a little unlucky that Gonsolin got hurt again. Snell has pitched like 2 starts all season. I think they're gonna be okay. But man, I mean, just look at the relieving luck. Like Michael Kopech with his setback, Blake Trinan getting hurt. Who knew that Blake Trinan would get hurt? But Evan Phillips with that setback out for this season. They took away from their depth. They've got some names in that bullpen that you're like, I'm not so sure about that. And they got some other guys that, maybe burdened in the bullpen. They're throwing a lot of innings out of that bullpen.
They are. I mean, you look at the starters. I mean, it's pretty much Yamamoto has 19 starts, been really, really good, 2.6 ERA. But after that, you mentioned Dustin Mays made 17 starts, but his ERA is 5. Kershaw's made their third most starts. I mean, losing Sasaki was huge. Glasnow got hurt. You mentioned Gonsolin. Knack. I mean, Otani's open for 5 games, but they just don't. They've had so many guys make starts. It's crazy. They've had 2 guys that have been consistently there in Yamamoto and May, and May's been legit bad. Yeah,
he has. And then you just look at how talk about Otani for a second there. He's gone 3 innings now once. He hasn't pitched since the 12th. They're really kind of just taking their time with him, and this is where it's a luxury to be the Dodgers. They're going to make the playoffs still. Yeah. That's the thing. They're still in first in the division. They still are have a loaded roster. I think it would take an even more epic wave of injuries / collapse for them to not make it. But it's been ugly lately, for sure.
It has. They do have Blake Snell kind of on the way back. We mentioned Glasnow's back. So maybe they start to get rolling here. I agree. I think they're going to be fine. I think they still win that division, but it's definitely been ugly lately, and they just they've had trouble scoring runs, haven't given up a lot of runs. This series against the Brewers, I mean, they look bad all weekend.
Yeah, they did. They really did.
Let's talk about the week coming up. We finally have a full week here to talk about, which is fun. But first, a note from our sponsors, the NFFC. The NFFC RotoWire Fantasy Football Online Championship is now live. There are drafts going on. I see draft boards on X all the time, so it's fun to see that going. Play fantasy football against your favorite RotoWire experts on NFFC this football season. Jeff Erickson, Nick Wayland, and more will compete in the RotoWire NFC Online Championship for a shot at $250,000. Sign up for a draft today at rotowire.com/high stakes. That's rotowire.com/high stakes. So, Jeff, we got week 18. We got a full week. These half weeks are always a little bit weird, so it's fun to get back in the swing of a full week. Sure. There are 10 teams that play 7 games a week. We have a lot of games this week. A lot of them in the American League. The Blue Jays and Orioles in the AL East play 7. The Guardians, Tigers, and Astros, A's, Angels, and Mariners. So 4 teams in the AL West play 7 this week. In the NL, it's only 2. It's the Cardinals and the Padres. But there's going to be a lot of games this week. 10 teams playing 7, 20 teams playing 6. There's a lot of games going on. Not a lot of obvious nice schedules, but there's some pretty good ones in there. The Astros line up really well. They have 3 at Arizona and then 4 at home against the A's. We mentioned before the A's give up mucho runs, so that should be a good setup for the Astros. Who are still hanging in there, leading the division, but
really hurt
a little bit.
They're really hurt.
They
no Pena, no Jordan. They've lost their outfield basically.
Yeah.
And that's tough to get around. I think that's one of the things I'm kind of like, I'm looking at there. Like Jake Myers is going to be out 3 weeks. Melton's on the IL. I mean, they've got Taylor Trammell playing a significant amount of games out there, and he's been kind of recycled through a number of different teams.
The bottom half of that lineup is wild to look at. You think it's the Astros, and you see Trammell, Dubon, Cooper, Hummel, and Zach Short. Like it's a weird to look at.
It is. And it's a tough time to only have 7. I mean, for them to have 7 games, you would like them to be a little healthier for this stretch. Yeah. I mean, it's the run prevention that's keeping them where they're at. I mean, the fact that Framber's been so good, obviously, Hunter Brown's been so good, but like they've been getting by with like no names in their rotation, like 2 to 3 guys at a time that, we didn't have in any of our radars going into the season. That they've gotten this great run prevention. A lot of that is their bullpen too.
Yeah, you got Colton Gordon making starts. You got Brandon Walter's been really good for them too. So yeah, you're right. They've got the fact they're in first place with all these injuries is pretty darn impressive. They get Spencer Arrighetti through his first rehab outing on Saturday. Looked pretty good. I think he threw 3 scoreless innings. So he's back on the way too. McCullers has been very up and down. A few good flashes, but some really ugly stuff. But yeah, they're hanging in there. Cardinals have a really good week. They go 3 at Coors and then 4 home against the Padres. The Padres can pitch well, but pretty good week. Anytime you get some games at Coors, really good there.
Except, let me interject real quick, because their bullpen just got worked this weekend. I mean, their pitching just got worked this weekend. Their bullpen had to throw a ton of innings at Arizona. Now they go to Coors after that. The Arizona Coors Field swing. That's tough to get over sometimes. This is a big stretch for the Cardinals. They've dropped back in the wild card race a little bit there. Got swept this weekend by Arizona. The Helsley rumors have resurfaced a little bit. This is a big week for them.
It is. You got to go into Colorado and take care of business. Those 4 games against San Diego will be really big because both those teams are going to need some wins there. Rangers have a pretty good setup. They get 3 at the A's. I kind of just pick on anybody that faces the A's right now. Their pitching is so bad, and 3 against the Braves. The Rays have a good setup. They get 3 in Tampa in their park against the White Sox. Really nice setup there. And they get 3 against at the Reds in Cincinnati. So the Rays probably had the best schedule of anybody this week. Only 6 games, but sets up really nice for Rays bats this week.
Yep. So they actually get to play 2 series in a row at home following the break before they go back on their big old road trip. So
that's right. That's right. They front loaded so many games. That's gonna be tough on the players. It's gonna be a tough summer of a lot of road games.
Yeah, and they really were grinding it. Remember, they got swept by the Red Sox going into the break, that 4-game series. So, and I think they won 2 out of 3 in Detroit, if I got that correct. So at least they had that aspect of it. But the grind was starting to hit them already. Yeah. A hot team might have been starting to hit them. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B there.
That Red Sox series really flipped that division, though. The Red Sox are suddenly in it. We talked about the Rays were coming for the Yankees, and all of a sudden the Blue Jays went by the Yankees and the Red Sox went by the Rays. It can flip pretty quick when those interdivision games.
100%.
A few news and notes before we talk some FAAB. You mentioned Astros injuries. We talked about a bunch of them, but we didn't even mention Isaac Paredes went in the 10-day IL with a right hamstring strain. The quotes coming out of this game did not sound good. This does not sound like a quick IL stint. I think he's going to be out.
Did you see the play? It was immediate. He knew.
It was.
Barely made it to first base on a ball hit to the wall. It's not.
Have you ever done that?
No, I just cramp up. I've also never hit a ball to the wall, but besides that, at least
that was funny on 2 different levels. I like that. We had a guy in a softball game do it between home and first. He was probably 25, and I'm not kidding you. I thought someone shot him in the baseline. Yeah. I thought there was a sniper. I was like, he was in that much pain. They were looking for blood. He wouldn't let the paramedics touch it. He was screaming like it was that bad. So it must be really painful. I had that scarred in my head. So I always stretch my hamstrings. I'm always really worried about that. He's like, I thought the guy died. It was crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. I've seen it before, and it does suck when it happens there.
Yeah.
I mean, it just goes. You're like, oh, is that an Achilles? Is that gone? It's like that. But hey, a strain is a tear, as Jeff Stotts, Will Carroll, Stephania Bell have drilled into our heads all the time. That means you've torn some of your hamstring muscle there. And so the size of that there matters. The location on the hamstring matters, obviously. I don't know the details, but I know he went immediately on the aisle. They flew him back for an MRI.
Yeah.
Pretty bad stuff.
Yeah, the quotes did not sound great. Speaking of Paredes, someone in the chat asked, With Perez on the IL, do you prefer Burleson or Colton Cowser?
Burleson was hot before the break. I think Cowser, though, just long-term.
Yeah, Cowser's still hitting the ball really hard, 48% hard contact rate. He had 24 bombs last year. I think I like that in the summer. I like getting the power there. And Burleson has been very good. I almost called him Nate Burleson, but Alec Burleson's been really good. I think I lean Cowser just a little bit.
Yeah. So Paul asks, do you hold on to Paredes? I think that's a good question. I am for 1 week for sure, just to find out a little bit more details. But I mean, we got 2 months left.
I don't have him anywhere. I would have probably, my lean was cutting him after I read the quote, but yeah, it's always easier to say when you're not actually doing it. Paul's obviously a very good player and knows a lot, and he cut him. That says a lot too.
And a 12, I'd cut him, and a 15, I'd hold probably.
Yeah, I think I'm a cut. I think it's going to be 6 weeks, and at that point, you're kind of dead.
If it is 6 weeks, you cut for sure.
Yeah. So, but I think your advice of holding for a week, maybe get some updates, is probably pretty sound. But if you had to make a decision tonight, I probably would have leaned cut, but it wouldn't have been an easy one.
Yeah, but you're also talking to the guy that's held on to Jordan and Blake Snell this whole time too. So,
at least Snell's coming back, but man, the Jordan thing has been. I mean, you can never drop him, but the Jordan thing's been just painful.
Yeah, and at least the good news is it's the Astros, so we'll be sure to have a very specific timeline for Paredes' return.
We'll hear about his some kind of surgery he's having in like a month that for something completely different. It'll be great. Yeah. It's a good point with the Astros. I mean, it's tough. Speaking of third baseman Alec Bohm, 10-day IL with a fractured left rib. The quote from Rob Thompson was a little bit weird. He's like, I don't like talking about timetables. Might be 3 weeks, maybe 4, maybe less. So nothing remotely helpful for fantasy players there.
No. So it raises the question: Are they content with Edmundo Sosa at third, or they look to try to trade for a third baseman in Eugenio Suarez? Although again,
he has 35 home runs. Is that crazy?
I was just going to say, and
mashing.
Yeah, they swept the Cardinals this weekend. They're not dead yet.
No, they're not dead. They're only like a game or two behind the Giants.
All this talk about Arizona being the best selling team out there. Well, they're not guaranteed to be a seller yet, even though they've had so much rotten injury luck. But they now sit 4.5 games out in the wild card.
I think they got to 500 today, right?
They did. They're still a game behind the Cardinals, two games behind the Reds and the Giants, who had a no good, lousy, awful weekend in Toronto. And Padres are the third wild card right now, so they're 4.5 behind the Padres. Hey, there'll be more head-to-head games there. We'll see about that. But
I mean, and it's still July. Like you win another, you get another 5-game winning streak in there. Suddenly you're like, 1 or 2 out. It's a long way to go. They're definitely not dead.
Yeah. The team that is dead is the Braves, though. They got to sell. I don't know what they can sell, but they got to be at least thinking about what they can do to maximize their roster for next year.
Is the deadline's in 11 days? Is that right?
July 31st. Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. And Paul mentioned in the chat, the next week decides the Diamondbacks. You're probably right. I mean, it's just these next 10 days are so magnified because you could be 1 or 2 out, you could be 8 out, and it really determines what you do for the next couple months.
Yep.
You're right. The Braves are interesting though because they've got so many big names. Can they trade Marcell Ozuna? Is someone taking Marcell Ozuna? He's been so bad, but you got to figure somebody would take a shot on that, right? Yeah,
but again, hard to trade a DH. Just zero defensive value. But that's also the thing. He's like the type of player that milk could go bad and not return. But
or he could hit 22, or he could hit 22 home runs in the last 2 months too. He'd go either way. Yeah.
Exactly. And we thought what was it, 3 years ago, fans were clamoring for him to get cut. He had so many bad things off the field and he was not good on the field. It was let's get rid of this guy. And now all of a sudden, people are trading for him. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that's it. The Braves have gone so sideways. It's been just a brutal year there. Especially the Cardinals. You mentioned them. We're talking about the wild card race. Nolan Gorman, who had just kind of gotten warmed up. He was having had a good couple of weeks. He went the 10-day IL with some lower back pain that lingered over the All-Star break. I think he got hurt kind of late in the Sunday last week, and everybody's like, "Oh, he'll be fine by Friday." And then all of a sudden, I think he was in the lineup on Friday, then got scratched, then went in the IL. So that's not a good sign. I dropped him. He's kind of a fringy guy anyway, but I dropped him even though he had been warm. I just couldn't hold on that spot. Shane Smith, the one White Sox pitcher that was in the All-Star game. Speaking of Suarez, he's the guy who hit Eugenio Suarez on the wrist. I was sure he had broken something in his hand. That would have been an awful way to go. But he went in the IL with an ankle sprain as well. Speaking of Arizona, Ketel Marte, personal issue. It sounded like his house got broken into.
Yeah, he got burglarized during the All-Star game, basically.
Speaking of which, did you watch Quarterback on Netflix?
So I am 5 episodes in. I just finished the episode where Burrow beat the Cowboys, gets to the locker room, and finds out that his house got broken into. And I need to watch the other ones, but yeah, it's great. It was really well done this year. I really enjoyed it. It's hard for me to find time to watch them, and I ended up watching the whole thing just because I thought it was really good. Burrow's fun, man. I wish I had Burrow in my life. He's awesome. He is awesome. I'd forgotten about that streak to end the year of 250 and 3 touchdowns in 8 straight games, whatever that crazy line was. It was nuts. It was great. Yeah. Stephen Kwan, you mentioned earlier, we're talking about some trade rumors in Cleveland. He missed the weekend with a wrist injury, so that's definitely one to watch. If he went in the IL, that'd be tough for them. Trading him, obviously tough for fantasy owners too in that regard. Tanner Houck, bad news there. If you were holding him in a really deep league, he had a setback during his rehab. I imagine he's probably going to be done for a while. Yeah. We briefly tried to pick Tanner Houck up as a desperation. Let's see what happens when he comes off the IL. We'll stash him for $1. Yeah, that didn't work out. He's since been cut. One of your stars this year, Nate Eovaldi, scratched on Sunday. It was going to be Eovaldi and Scooble. That would have been a lot of fun, but he was scratched with back tightness. That's a scary one because you don't like that, and he's been awesome. Is he what's the ERA, like 1.6 or something crazy like that? I love that the Rangers paid his All-Star bonus, even though he didn't get to pitch in the All-Star game. I like that. That was good of them. But the funny thing is, the Rangers didn't really miss Eovaldi. It wasn't the pitching that held them back, at least the starting pitching that held them back tonight. They even, seeing Scooble not get that one, hurt my core a little bit. And although I don't really blame him for taking him out there. That last at bat was really taxing, and he had 105 pitches. They're up 10 games. Like, I was watching people like, I can't believe they took him out 105 pitches. And I was like, I get it. Like, it's just the fantasy guy in me. The real life guy in me realizes you're up 10 games and you can't win in the playoffs without him. It's just like, it's just tough. Jay Grizz, I did understand that joke. That was well done. Good Ryan McMahon reference there for Jim McMahon. Nate Schanuel was hit by a pitch, left wrist contusion. Definitely watch that one if you have him, just because that's going to be one that they play tomorrow at the Mets. So just have to see if he's in the lineup. Brandon Lau, bad news here. He had a flare up of his plantar fasciitis. As someone who deals with plantar fasciitis, I can promise you flaring that up is not fun. So hopefully he can figure that pretty quick. It almost never goes away. I can tell you it just actually doesn't go away. Yeah. It's not like you can just remove it. It's just one of those things. Although mine after like 10 minutes, it feels pretty good. It just it feels really bad in the morning. I have to stretch it out. But once I get there, I'm pretty good. Okay, that's good. I might be older and less athletic than Brendan Lau, though. Older at least. Definitely. We're not talking about Jeff McNeil here, Jeff. That's true. Good point. We mentioned Spencer Arrighetti. The only other pitcher I want to note in doing some rehab is Shane Bieber. Has thrown a couple outings at like the instructional kind of thing they have at their camps. He's going to have an actual rehab start on Tuesday. So he's kind of on his way back here. Any interest in stashing Shane Bieber? So here's the problem with stashing him is, can you use him when he finally gets activated? Is he going to go 3 innings, 4 innings? The Guardians are out of it. Barring crazies. Maybe they're in it for the wild card. Maybe they're 4.5 out of the wild card. That wild card's kind of messy in the AL. It is. We thought Boston was out of it at one point, and now they are tied with the Mariners at the 2 and 3 respectively. And it's the Rays, Rangers, Angels, then Guardians. Guardians, they got their turn, and I know their schedule is pretty soft in the second half. They had a hard first half schedule, so they're not out of it. So you're right, but I think they got to take a long view with Bieber, which means you're probably waiting 2 or 3, maybe 4 more weeks before he gets activated. And really then 1 or 2 more starts after he gets activated before you really can use him. And then if they get to the point that like they're out of it, they're never really going to let him loose. Like it might be April of next year when they really let him loose. So that's a really good point. I think I agree. I'm probably just not bothering him. If it gets the week where he's pitching and he's still out there on the wire, sure, I'll take a shot. But I think you're right. I think it's gonna be tough to use him in fantasy leagues. Yeah, and I need to relearn this lesson like every 2 weeks apparently. But I should I want a pitcher coming back from a long-term absence. You should probably not start him right away. You get excited. Oh, I got Shane Bieber. Ooh, I got Yu Darvish. And it just there's been a number of examples this year where that's happened, where the pitchers come back after an extended absence, and those first couple starts are pretty dicey.
It's tough. It's the new toy though. It's been sitting on your bench that whole time. How do you not put it in? It's hard not to.
Yep. Yuri Perez is another good one there. That first couple starts were a little dicey. He's better now, but just got to be patient.
Baseball's not easy.
No.
Let's talk some FAAB. I kind of had a lot of other stuff to talk about because FAAB was not overly interesting this week. But first, note of our sponsors at Home Run Forecast. Can the weather really help a baseball travel farther? Turns out, yes. The air can affect how far baseball carries by up to 20%. Home Run Forecast uses real-time weather data to rate each game's conditions for ball flight, assigning every matchup a 1 to 10 score based on how home run friendly the air is. On the premium site, you'll get game-by-game, hour-by-hour index values, 24-hour forecast, wind direction, roof status, and more, all for less than $6 a month. Check it out at homerunforecast.com and gain a weather edge before first pitch. So, Jeff, let's go hitters first of all. I think the most interesting guy out there was Adrian Del Castillo. Got called up. How much do you think Del Castillo plays? My biggest thing with him, and there was some active bidding on him, is just how much he's going to be able to get in the lineup.
Yeah, and so I was listening a lot to the Diamondbacks. It was either I forget it was their radio broadcast. I think it was their radio broadcast on Friday, and they were talking about Del Castillo. It's like, why wasn't he called up sooner? Well, his defense was horrific behind the plate last year, especially his ability to control the run game. I think that he didn't throw a base runner out or something very extreme last year.
And at a position where you can't hide that defensively if you're bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He also had some health setbacks at AAA this year, 2 of them, if I recall correctly, including a shoulder issue. So you look at it from that standpoint, yeah, I can see why they didn't call him up sooner. But, I think they kind of figured out that they need him now. And maybe they're happy with the progress he's made. I did see that Gabriel Moreno is on the 60-day IL. Yeah. So, there's going to be an extended stretch. So, I'd be interested in him if he's available in my leagues.
The interesting thing is that he DH'd when he first came up on Saturday. He had the 3 or 4 hits, whatever it was. And if he DHs, that becomes really interesting because he got catcher eligibility in our leagues. It's a matter of if they want to sit Jake McCarthy for him is kind of what it comes down to. Like if they want to sit Alec Thomas, it's against righties. If he can get the strong side of that platoon and maybe catch against some righties, then DH against others, he becomes a lot more interesting. If he's just catching against some righties, he's not really playable. But if he DHs too, he becomes pretty interesting in a position that obviously we're always looking for any kind of hope.
Yeah, exactly. And it's James McCann, Jose Herrera, the other alternatives. I think you just have to look at the rest of the Diamondbacks roster and look at health right now. Pavin Smith still on the IL. When Pavin Smith comes back, what happens? And
to your point, another lefty too.
Yep, exactly.
Another catcher got the call after the Mets game. Francisco Alvarez with I think he had 10, a whole handful of homers in AAA.
He gets 11, including today.
There you go. It was him and Spencer Jones. It seems like every time on Twitter there's a home run for the minors. It's either Alvarez or Spencer Jones, but in Yankees prospect. But Alvarez was not very available in the main event, and I believe he was 93% rostered. I added him 2 weeks ago. I took a week and a half of zeros because I wanted to get him, and I was starting Luis Torrens, who was worse than a zero because when you go 1 for 14, it's worse. But Alvarez is not available in many main events, but where he was, he got some big bids. He went for 72 in a main event. He's available in a lot of online championships. Do you believe that maybe he just figured something out down there and he's going to come hit? Because this is obviously something that you and I both liked a lot coming into the season.
So they spent some time with him trying to revamp Alvarez's swing. And it's hard to do that at the big league level. It's hard to do that on the fly.
Yeah.
I think doing it the way they're doing it, they built that confidence in Alvarez back up. Pretty sure that's the smarter way to play that.
Yeah, and he played it really well. I think he just needed a break. He needed to figure some stuff out. And if he actually changed something for the better, that would be really interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think he's going to just play most days again. And I think he's definitely very, very worth a pickup. If he's available in your league, I mean, unless you're in a 1 catcher 10 or 12 teamer where there's there's kind of that drop off is not as bad. If you're a 2 catcher league, I think he's an automatic pickup right now if he's available.
Yep.
Otto Kemp in Philadelphia. We mentioned earlier that Alec Bohm went on the IL. Otto Kemp's got a pretty clear stretch of playing time here for the next whatever Rob Thompson said, 3 to 4 weeks or maybe less. But Otto Kemp is someone that's just going to probably play every day.
So I thought they might split time with Sosa and Kemp.
Yeah, I guess that's probably true. It seems like
although they're both right-handed hitters, aren't they?
Yeah, they are both right-handed hitters.
Yeah.
Without Bowman there, I just kind of figured they would figure out a way because they go Harper at first, Schwarber at DH. Those spots are dead. You're right. There is probably some Edmundo Sosa problems in there, but I kind of like Kemp as a fantasy player, though. A little bit of speed, a little bit of power.
Yeah.
If he can find his way into playing time, I am intrigued. He had 14 home runs, 11 stolen bases in less than 60 games in AAA this year. Like, he was really good. He was pretty good fantasy-wise last year in the minors, too. Like, I just think he can hit a little bit, and I don't think Edmundo Sosa really can.
Yeah, I got to dive into this a little bit more. I mean, Sosa is a known commodity too. Kemp maybe maybe we have some upside here. So yeah, I think you're right to target Kemp as the upside play at least.
You know who's quietly been really bad there is Bryson Stott, hitting 230, OBP's 302, hard hit rates at 28%. We joke about guys in like the 30s. 28% is really, really low. He does have 14 stolen bases for us in fantasy leagues, but only 6 homers. Bryson Stott's been rough, and it's been rough lately too. It's been bad. Yeah,
this is a guy that I kind of gave a little bit of credit for playing hurt last year. Was willing to draft him back this year. It's like, hey, maybe 15-15, 20-20 maybe. No, that you're not getting that.
Yeah, it's been rough there for him. Other bats were tough. It's always hard when you've got like three games you're looking at. There's no stats, but I think Yoan Moncada is actually kind of interesting. Back for the Angels, playing third base a lot off the IL. Again, he's going to get hurt at some point, but he's making loud contacts. 43% hard hit with a 15% barrel rate so far this year. He had 8 homers in 37 games. If you needed a corner infielder, I actually thought Moncada was worth a pickup this year and just kind of play him until he gets hurt again.
Yeah, I think you nailed the situation there too. Use him until he gets hurt again, and then you move on, or until like he gets benched, or something of that nature there. But yes, I think there's a short-term gain from him for sure.
Yeah. Someone in the chat mentioned Angel Martinez. I don't know how to pronounce it in Cleveland, leading off the last couple of days, which is pretty interesting. So you've got some at bat interest there. If Stephen Kwan goes on the IL, both him and Jonathan Rodriguez are mildly interesting. I thought Rodriguez was someone that had a little bit of fancy juice as well. If Kwan does go on the IL,
I guess I feel like they've both been vetted to a certain extent, so it's hard for me to get too excited about them, but. Yeah, playing time.
Rodriguez had 30 homers last year in AAA. Like he mashed. He hit 301 with 30 bombs last year.
Yeah, maybe I'm underappreciating him. I've been filing him under other bats. I
think he's going to strike out so much that's probably not going to matter. But he legit hits the ball really hard. So a type of guy that maybe if you fall into a streaky 2 weeks, as we see with some of these guys, a John Kenzie Noel type of dude that has got some power. But I think the strikeout numbers are going to be pretty epic in the majors, to be honest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Anybody else you liked? I kind of have a bunch of names on here. John Rave in Kansas City had those couple of home runs. Randall Grichuk, but we talked about maybe Del Castillo DHs, so maybe Grichuk loses some time there. Cole Young in Seattle, Davis Schneider in Toronto, Tommy Pham in Pittsburgh. It wasn't very good for trying to find good bats this week. Is there anybody else on offense you really liked?
Really liked is overstating the case.
Yeah.
Maybe like. Put a token bid on like Starling Marte in anticipation of his return. He's supposed to be back soon. He was hitting well before he got hurt.
Do you like the Reds lefties this week? They get 6 righties this week, so it's those weeks we get kind of on and off. But this could be a Will Benson, Jake Fraley, Gavin Lux sort of week. Were you attacking any of those Reds hitters at all?
I mean, the problem is they'll get replaced mid-game. The second a lefty reliever comes in, and vice versa. They'll come in soon as lefty starter goes out of the game and they bring in a righty reliever. But I mean, just Will Benson could click. And the thing is, I think when he was good with the Reds 2 years ago, his counting stats weren't very good. It's just because his playing time was strictly against righties. He was at the bottom of the lineup. I remember he had like a 900 OPS and like 30 RBI at one point in time. So he was good for the Reds, but doesn't really help us as much as you think it does. I mean, you look up and you see him hitting these rockets. You're like, oh man, that guy can crank. He's huge. Look at him. And he can run too. Oh, that's awesome. And then you look at the counting stats. You're like, is that all? Really? Where did the rest of them go?
You're more of a keeper dynasty league player, but someone in the chat asked, in keeper dynasty league, would you rather have Dylan Cruz or Roman Anthony? My answer off the bat was Roman Anthony, but I just wanted to make sure you agreed on that.
I'm going to make sure Anthony again. Anthony.
Yeah, agree.
Very much. Anthony. All right, there you go.
Let's see. If you need positional help, Mauricio Dubon is now eligible at every single position except for catcher. He's first, second, third, short, and outfield. It's kind of wild.
Bert Campaneris.
Very, very campy numbers. Good reference right there, Jeff. Any interest in Jordan Walker coming off the IL? We finally moved on from Jordan Walker in our lives in fantasy leagues for the moment.
For the moment, I'm not giving up. If I had a dynasty league, I'd hold. I'd target.
He's still 20. He's still 23. I would have guessed like
Exactly.
25 too, and it's still 23.
I think he's like, he could be like Joe Adell, where he gets it eventually. It just
how lovely is Joe Adell 2025?
Dude, you're like getting so validated right now. Aren't you so happy about that?
I mean, I've missed many times, but yes, now I'm.
You've been talking about it since spring training.
Yeah, every Joe Adell home run is very fun for me right now. I have him everywhere, and it's legit too. He's striking out less. His barrel rate's 17%. This is not a hot streak. Like Joe Adell is just really, really good right now, which is fun to see. And we kind of talked about it in the offseason, kind of why we liked him, and it's coming to fruition. And he's striking out even less too. He's dropped that. He's not like the 35% strikeout guy anymore. He's 24% right now, and he's been really good for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Any interest in a Zach Veen stash? Colorado's going to have to call him up at some point. He's been good in the minors. Are you diving that low to get a Rockies hitter? I'm not. I'm not either.
Please don't do a fake. We're have a meeting in the AAA manager's office and have a call up video again. It was so inauthentic the first time, and it led to nothing. So
yeah, it was tough. Last guy I want to ask you about, Luke Keyshaw in Minnesota. You and I talked about him when he got called up and he got hurt pretty quick. He began his rehab assignment on Friday with AAA St. Paul Saints. Any interest in Keyshaw with the thought that he's coming back up? I know you liked him when he first got called up.
Yeah, some interest. Keep in mind he's UT only to start, though. That's part of the problem. Yeah. But I expect the Twins maybe to try to sell whatever they could at the deadline. I will no longer advocate for Byron Buxton to get dealt. That one has been squashed by the man himself, who has a no trade clause, a full no trade clause, and said, "Don't even bother trying. I'm not going to go." So
what a stud, by the way. This year is awesome. Just stay healthy. Yeah. He's been so good.
Yeah. So that he would be an obvious target for every single team, but he doesn't want it. So I mean, look at the rest of this team. I mean.
How many they could trade all these guys, but you're right. Like I was to say, none of them are really veteran. I guess maybe they could
Correa,
but he's got a pretty big deal. Maybe Matt Wallner or Trevor Larnach, like a team needs a lefty masher sort of thing. But Wallner's been bad and Larnach's just kind of been okay. I guess they could deal Ryan Jeffers maybe if somebody needed a catcher, but it's a weird roster right now.
It is a weird roster, and I mean Wallner and Larnach don't have that much service time. So again, what's the point?
Do you think they trade Joe Ryan?
God, that would be dumb. I don't think so, but if they did, I mean, he'd be automatically the best pitcher on the market. He's so good, dude.
So good. And he is making $3 million this year, has 2 more years of arbitration. So they have control for another 2.5 years. That would have to be a Godfather offer, right? To get
exactly. It would have to be a Godfather. I'm so glad you brought up the term of the Godfather author there, because we haven't mentioned that yet. And we're at that time where we need it there.
He is 29 though. So he's not like that really that young, but there's no way I'm doing it. I get the theory of always trade pitchers when they're healthy, because they're going to get hurt at some point, but man, I'd have a lot of trouble getting rid of. I love Joe Ryan too, so I'd have a lot of trouble doing that. 272.91 whip this year.
Yeah, I think it's the bullpen is where you're looking. They have a really good bullpen, but let's face it, reliever performance is so variable.
Have you looked at Griffin Jackson's line recently?
It's he's been better lately, but
he has a 32% K- walk right now.
Is that good?
I mean, he's been unbelievable. The dude is a stud.
He had a really rough start to the season.
Did.
And so I think people have forgotten that and how good he is. But yeah, I don't think the thing is, I could see the Twins saying, no, we're not going to trade any of these guys. I'm just looking at, again, he's on a year-to-year deal right now. He's still he's not a free agent, I don't think, at the end of this year. So why would they be rushed? Now, the thing about the Twins is they're going through the sale of the team. Yeah. And that might dictate some results that you're like, really? But I mean, $2.37 million is what Jax makes this year. I mean, what's he going to make next year? $4-5 million? Is that still? That's not enough for me to want to trade him.
But if you got a great offer for him or Duran, wouldn't you have to consider it? I think that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that the relievers are the type you trade at high value. If I get a ton for either one, I actually added Griffin Jackson in my main event this week with the thought that if they trade Duran, Griffin Jackson's like a top 10 closer, all like right off the bat. If he probably gets dealt 2 if they dealt Duran. But if Jack somehow fell into closing, he and Mason Miller have identical swinging strike rates, just to give you an idea of how good Griffin Jackson's been.
Yeah. And the thing is, and we overlook it because the ERA and the whip aren't that good for the season there.
Yeah, you're right. He had that, and relievers are tough. Like you have a couple blowups, it's really hard to get that number down. But I was talking about other stuff. But starter FAAB, Jeff, did you like anyone? I know Zebby Matthews is available in 12 teamers. We talked about him last week, the week before. Coming back for the Twins. I had trouble finding any starters I wanted this week. It was weird because we got a full week, but a lot of the 1, 2, and 3s threw over the weekend. So you got some bad guys making 2 starts. They felt like a lot of grenades out there this week that I was really scared of. I did not do much in the pitcher market this week.
Oh, this is a good week to keep your powder cool. I mean, sometimes you get burned by like, first FAAB after the break and you miss out on something. But yeah, I mean, it's ugly. It's ugly. Like, we dropped Logan Evans in one league and I saw him picked up in others. So, I mean, that's where we're at right about now.
Did you have any love for Jackins in that? By the way, to FanGraph, shows Oak on there. I love TH or whatever it is. But Jackins has been out a ton. He's been like 3 innings on Saturday. I kind of use him as a weak guy, but kind of build a little bit. He's interesting for the last couple of years. If they decide to build him up, they have no in front of him. He plays any on that stat, be guy. But do you like Jack Perkins at all?
I have him in AL Tout Wars, and in an AL only league, just these 3 inning outings. That's value right there for the ratios. I'll take it. But I would like to get. I'd like to get him to get stretched out to pick up a win or 2, but I figure the process of doing so could be pretty dangerous too. That's the thing. It's like, I don't know about that. I mean, they've had some success with Jacob Lopez, so I guess it could happen, but they could get some good work. But man, this starting pitching has been so bad. Like JP Sears had a stretch where he's decent, then comes out after the break and just gets hammered by the Guardians. Jeffrey Springs was awful today against the Guardians. I don't know. And that's on the road before you get into Sacramento, and Sacramento, we know it's proving to be a very tough place to pitch. Not Coors, but it's still pretty tough.
Sorry, I was breaking up for that for a second. Do I sound back and normal yet?
Yeah. You feel better now. You sound better now.
Good. Sorry about that. I think Perkins is interesting from a pitcher standpoint, but I agree with you. It's just the park's so hard. It's hard to find spots to pitch him. I grabbed him for cheap in a couple spots, but just kind of a purely spec play. But there was nothing. I mean, Chris Flexen, Logan Evans, you mentioned someone you dropped. Our old friend Randy Vasquez has 2 starts this week. I'm not going there.
If you picked him up, then I'd have to. That would be like your signal to the world that you're not okay. That's
a good point. If I ever picked up Randy Vasquez, that something's gone sideways. So Cade Povich may be coming back off the IL, but to sum up, I didn't think there was much starters pitching to grab this week. I was just staying away.
Yeah, I think that's the right call.
Was there anybody you liked in the bullpen? I mentioned that I liked Griffin Jax with the thought that maybe we get someone that falls into a job if they trade Yohan Duran. Is there anybody else you like? Do you think that Blake Trinan could sneak into this role? I mean, Tanner Scott's blown 7 or 8 saves. Kirby Yates has been good, but not like taking over that job. You mentioned all the other righties that are hurt. Do you think Trinan could fall into maybe a 40% save share maybe the last couple months?
Yeah, good luck timing that market with Dave Roberts. No thanks.
Agreed.
I mean, he's a good pitcher, but first of all, he's got to get back first. That Robert Garcia was available in my main. Someone had cut him, thinking that maybe he was no longer going to be the closer. So there's actually a bidding war there. The guy I want to talk about though is David Robertson.
Yeah.
He just signed with the Phillies, 1 year, $5 million deal. Finally got his deal there, Scott, after all this time. He could have been closing games for the Rangers all season long. Instead, they didn't bring him back. They didn't want to get over that apron, that tax apron, I guess. It's not apron in baseball. It's a basketball term, but tax threshold, luxury tax threshold. Does Robertson close games for the Phillies?
You have to think that he only signed to come at least with the agreement that he would have a chance to close games, right? Like I doubt he's coming back to throw the 6th inning for anybody. I dropped Kerkering in a league just because with this, maybe Robertson is the righty and Strom's the lefty. I think he's gonna be mixing and matching there. I don't think they're gonna fall into a full situation, but I do think that he gets a chance to close some games down the stretch.
Yeah, exactly. And that's just the thing. You said that there. That's a feature, not a bug with the Phillies that they don't choose one guy to close. But I do think that Robertson has history with the team and history closing. So he could, if the stuff is still good, and it sounds like it's good enough for him to get signed. So I think it's definitely certainly an interesting situation there.
And the other part of this is that he was actually really, really good last year.
Yep.
I mean, he was 3.0 and a 1.11 whip with a 33.5% strikeout rate last year. Like, he legit was really good, which is crazy because he was 39 last year, but he was really good. When I looked at him, like, I can't believe they're signing this. And I looked at last year, I was like, oh, I forgot how good he actually was.
Yeah, exactly. And going back to Trinan, he was really good too. It's just I don't trust the health at all. But it's going to be tough to see a guy jump in mid-season like this. No spring training. We'll see how quickly they activate him. How quickly, they get to using him in high profile games. Yeah. You got to figure there's a ramp up period though, too. And
it has to be.
Yeah. Just even at like he's been throwing all the time in Rhode Island or Maine or whatever the heck he was. I mean,
by the way, the reports of that thing are so funny. It's like how great and sharp he looked as he's throwing like a back high school field somewhere.
It's the same thing it's like showing, long passes in OTAs. It's like, come on, guys in shorts. Yeah. Okay. Fine. He looks great doing that.
Reminds me of the NBA guy from China that was like, did a workout against a chair and everybody was fired up about his post moves.
The only time that ever has worked is Orlando Cespedes.
Yoenis Cespedes?
Yoenis. Why did I say Orlando? Yoenis. I blew that. God dang, I suck.
Orlando Cepeda? I don't know Orlando Cespedes.
I think that's probably how I conflated.
You're right, though. Cespedes had that workout video.
The hype video, yeah.
It looked like Javon Curse or something, like working out. It was crazy. And all of a sudden, he actually there it was. Paul had it. It was Wang Zhizhi. That's right. It was against the chair. It was an amazing video. It was so great.
Yeah, but that's the one hype video that actually turned out to be like, oh, he really was that pretty crazy good for a while.
There was that other one of the guy in the Pirates, Pedro Alvarez, maybe was like, no, it was his name. It was Gregory Polanco. Had like some insane workout in the Dominican where he was a shirtless and like looking buff, and he went up like 5 rounds the next day, and it never worked out.
Yeah. Whatever happened to, I mean, Polanco, did he get hurt? Is that why he was so bad? Like he just like disappeared pretty quickly from the game.
He really did. I mean, he was going to be a stud too.
Yeah. That was a disappointment.
It really was. I didn't think we'd end up the show talking about Gregory Polanco tonight.
Yeah. Or the very mythical Orlando Cespedes.
Polanco's in the Japanese league.
He's still there. Okay.
He has 5 homers in 39 games this year. He had 23 bombs and 26 last year. So he's actually hitting some bombs somewhere.
No truth to the rumor that 3 of those bombs were off of Trevor Bauer.
Oh my God! You see that homer he gave? That was like
I did.
700 feet.
Yeah,
that was amazing. I think it said it was like 594, which probably obviously it wasn't. But the readings were ridiculous. But that ball was absolutely crushed.
Yes.
So
hate to see it.
I hate to see it. Jeff, anything else we want to talk about here?
I'm just excited that we got back in the saddle here.
That was fun.
Looking forward to this trade deadline. Really looking forward to that. So yeah, and. Reds GM is now Brad Meter. They bumped up the other guy, to like crawl above him. But Meter comes out and says, "Well, we're not sure if we're all in. Or it could go either way." I'm like, dude, stop throwing. Stop trying to extinguish the fire. I mean, I wish we would have won more games by now. Well, I wish you would have signed more people by now too. But
are the Reds gonna sell guys?
I don't even know, dude. They probably won't. They'll probably do what they did 2 years ago and trade for one nondescript lefty reliever that they barely is on the team, like they did with Sam Moll 2 years ago. Yeah. That was the thing that ticked me off the most. Is they're in first place at the trade deadline, and that's the one move they made. That's it. That was the list, and they didn't want to break up that young core, like Christian Encarnacion Strand. Can't trade him. Yeah, I'm sorry. I loved CS. I thought he was going to be better than he is. But you don't often get to choose when everything aligns properly and you get a chance to succeed. If you're there, you go for it.
Agreed.
Period.
Agreed. Yeah. Next week, FAAB will be really interesting because if you're going to plan to make any kind of spec plays on trade deadline, the trade deadline's on a Thursday. So next Sunday, you got to do it before that week. FAAB next week's going to be the week where you do make some spec plays and try and fall in some lucky close situations. You'll probably you get burned on some, and man, when your closers get traded, it really sucks. When your closer gets traded to a setup role, that is the worst. I have some Ryan Helsley. I really need the Cardinals to win some games so they don't trade him into a setup role somewhere.
Yeah. Agreed. But trade him to a team that also uses him as a closer, and you're fine there.
That would be nice. Yeah, I would love that. But you get and it'd be a good team too. But you're always worried about that setup role for a guy who's been closing all year for you.
Oh, 100% for sure. I will say this: my two home leagues, my original home leagues, Amiki and AL and Midnight Madness and NL, both have Thursday night FAAB deadline. So that could be bonkers that night.
Yeah. That'll be a lot of fun right there. That'll be because it'll be the trade deadline's like at 1:00 or something that day, and you get all kinds of crazy moves.
Yep.
So cool. Well, Jeff, appreciate jumping on as always. Always fun. It's always a good time. I was happy to get back on. A week off was good, but it's gonna be back talking baseball with you. We'll be back talking next Sunday night. Hope it was a really good week, a good fantasy week, and we will be back at you next Sunday talking some trade deadlines, some FAAB, and more baseball. So hope it was a good week and take care.